So alt text and file names. So search engine spiders aren't human, and they can't see images the way that we can, right? So we use what are called alt tags to tell search engines what those images are. The file name of those images are also helpful. Alt tags and file names are just one more component of the whole optimization equation. This tactic is also very prone to over-optimization, though. So people say, they're going through their list, they're saying, okay, I've got my headings, I've got my titles, I've got all these things. Now I got to optimize my images, and they name every single one of their images with this kind of spammy name, right? Buy Reebok shoes online, Reebok shoes online for sale.jpg, right? It's like, you don't need to do that. Just call it Reeboks.png or whatever. So don't over-optimize this. Some people can induce a penalty if they do that. The other thing to consider is that this is an accessibility issue. So visually impaired users or people with like difficult seeing use special browsers that read images to them. Those browsers are reading these alt tags, right? So this is an accessibility issue as well. What we're talking about here is looking at the images on any page and optimizing them in a way so that search engines understand what they are. The reason why this is beneficial is it becomes a ranking component of the original document, right? So I have a page, it's about Ford trucks, and I have all these things on it. If I have a picture of a truck and it's called homepage graphic1.jpg, that doesn't mean anything, right? But if I can input it in a way that's descriptive, blue Ford truck, right? It gives me a few more points in terms of essentially what this page is about. In addition to that, right, Google's constantly crawling the web for all these things. It's also finding all these images. So if I call the Ford truck homepage graphic 1, it's not going to show up in a Google image result. But if I can be more descriptive about it, it will. I'm not too worried about Google image traffic because, like I said before, it doesn't really convert. It's low quality. It's people just going to your image, saving it to their desktop, and moving on. But I like to think about this in the context of making your page rank higher for the original term. So yeah, good question. So sometimes it can be tricky if you have like some repetitive images. I like to change it up. I generally don't do the same alt tags, like one after another. And sometimes you just can't find your keyword in it, right? Like some people will have like a blue box for whatever reason, or some particular type of image, and it's not their primary keyword, and they still try and call it like, oh, Ford truck blue box, and it doesn't really seem to make sense. So again, I just like to be descriptive about this, but I try not to repeat myself. Yeah, I don't have a really good answer for that. I'm not sure. I mean, I try and change it up, but I don't really know.
Assuming that you go with that holistic theme of being natural.
Right. That works for me. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a real hard and fast scientific way to do this, but my rule of thumb is like be descriptive about it and try not to repeat yourself too much. So let me look into this and get back to you. I haven't been. I try and at least do something different. But let me look into this and get back to you because that's a good question. Yeah.
So for instance, on Airbnb, how do you do that? You have like a picture of the house, but it's from different areas, and you put the picture on the side.
Yeah. So we use the alt text of what the users input in the description. So I guess in theory, if the user generated content is the same, yeah, it would be the same. But it's a human describing the image, and that's what we use. So
like front of blue Ford truck, side of
right,
another
photo of the bathroom, right? Yeah. So like, so yeah.
So you mentioned that this Airbnb is image heavy, so I think that you probably use this right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so the most pictures on Airbnb are put by users. So do you recommend that they put the alt tag and give the appropriate your file name?
Yeah, so I mean, we have back-end logic where we're not saying, hey, user, input the alt tag. What we're saying is describe the photo, and then we take that and populate it, right? So yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah.
And Google's probably looking at a site like Airbnb and giving more weight to like something in a paragraph tag or like the actual like written content itself. Unless there just isn't that much anyway to begin with. Wouldn't that be the case?
Google's giving more weight to actual content?
Versus compared to like alt tags on images, for instance. Even though it's an image-heavy site.
Right.
Like
For sure. Yeah. So absolutely. And image optimization and file name optimization is very low on the totem pole. It's good to talk about, and people always have a lot of questions about it. But if I'm rank ordering like the things I want to do, this is at the bottom for sure. So having a document that's well titled, has a good URL structure, has a good heading, has 100 words on it, mentions the keyword 2 to 3 times, has synonyms, all of those things are more important than this. Yeah.
So is it cumulative though, in that you're doing all the various components so that your site might rank a little higher than someone who didn't necessarily go to the trouble?
That's right. Yep. So it's all, the way I like to think about this is all of these components are kind of incrementally beneficial. Like you can have a site that ranks well and doesn't have optimized images, right? Like you don't necessarily need all of these, but they seem to be kind of incrementally helpful, some more so than others. Yeah. But what people get really caught up on is they're like, I'm not going to get any SEO traffic because my image does not have the right alt tag. It's like, it's not what I've experienced. Yeah. Sweet. So yeah, just one example. On my page, I've got a picture of me, and it's called tommygriffith.jpg with the alt tag of my name, right? The perfectly optimized image.